With the New York Rangers being right at the top of the Metropolitan Division alongside the Carolina Hurricanes right now, this team is still a good team. Obviously, they had their moments where they were looking like an elite dominant team. I've definitely cooled off and have struggled quite a bit as of late. They still got a nice win the other night against Ottawa, and I do think this team still will more than likely be buyers at this year's NHL trade deadline. And with seeing Philip Hedl more than likely out for a very long time, or even potentially probably the whole entire season, this team definitely still needs to make some moves if they want to be a true Stanley Cup contender. So we're going to take a look at a few different things that this team kind of needs to look to potentially add at this year's NHL trade deadline, alongside what are the actual biggest issues with this team right now. Starting off here, taking a look, I think one of the biggest issues is, the 5-on-5 scoring has not been the best. So I do think adding in a very talented center alongside a very talented winger could be a good idea, although I'm not quite sure we're going to be getting a center, wing, and potentially a D-man, because I do think we kind of need that as well. So there's definitely a lot of things the Rangers need to add and kind of get better at. I don't think we can address all of those kind of things at the deadline. I don't think we're really getting, a center, wing, and a D-man. I definitely could be wrong, but I think that's just a lot of kind of moving bodies and stuff like that around, and we don't have a whole lot of cap space. So personally, I don't think we're going to see a center, wing, and D-man added, but I do think we could see two of those three added, and I do think adding in a forward alongside a D-man would be very ideal. Obviously, a center, I think, is the primary target. I know we need a winger as well, but I do think this team right now clearly needs to add another really good center down the middle. Having that flexibility, having three really good center, I think, is a big need. And right now, this team is kind of rocking with Johnny Brodzinski as that kind of 3C alongside Gaudreau as that kind of 4C. So obviously, with Nick Bonino being waived, he hasn't quite panned out this year. I thought he'd be a lot better than he was. Obviously, hasn't done that so far this year, and it's unfortunate for him, but still, a solid vet guy to have down there as depth is a fine thing to have. But obviously, Johnny Brodzinski is not an actual third-line center in the NHL. He's just not that good. He's a solid player. I'm not saying he's bad or by any means, but I still think that we need to upgrade at that center spot. So bringing in another guy could be quite a nice addition. And next up here, taking a look at four of the better center options available at this year's NHL trade deadline. It's more than likely going to be Elias Lindholm, Sean Monahan, Adam Henrique, and Tyler Johnson. So obviously, some decent names there. I mean, Lindholm, Monahan, Adam Henrique are all having some pretty great seasons. Tyler Johnson's not having the best year of his career by any means. Obviously, on the Chicago Blackhawks, he's been a pretty big dumpster fire so far this year. So obviously, you can't expect too much out of him, but I still think he would be an all-right add on that third line there to be that kind of center there. Definitely provides some solid depth. He's been a veteran guy. He's won a couple cups. He's obviously a great veteran player, and I think would be a nice add to that third line. But I do think we would get a lot more impact out of a guy like Henrique, Lindholm, or obviously Monahan there. So Monahan, more of a top six kind of guy, but I do think could fit down there in that third line center, provide some very, very good depth. But a guy like Elias Lindholm has had quite a bit of experience as a winger as well as being a center. So I do think that bringing him in provides some good flexibility to where you can have him as that third line center or put him up there on that top line right wing spot alongside Zibanejad and Kreider potentially to kind of try and boost that scoring up there. So that's definitely a possibility as well. If you do pick up Lindholm, he can play on the wing as well. Or you can go with a nice veteran guy who's been around the league for a very long time in Adam Henrique, who's actually having a very good year so far with the Anaheim Ducks, having 48 games played, 32 points, 15 goals, 17 assists. He's having a great season so far. So I do think that he would be quite a nice pickup there, a very solid veteran center, and I think would be a great third-line guy to have and would provide some great depth to where if we did see an injury to Zibanejad or Trocheck, he could be a seamless fit up in the top six there. Obviously, you don't want that to happen, but he's a guy who definitely could play in that top six if needed. But I think would be a great veteran center to have, just provide some great depth down the middle there. And next up here, taking a look at some wing options available for the Rangers at this year's NHL trade deadline. And I do have a lot more videos up on the channel already, and I will have more in the future as we do get closer to the NHL trade deadline, kind of going more in depth on certain players and there's kind of position groups as well. So definitely, if you want to check those videos out, you can on more trade deadline options for the Rangers. But starting off here, taking a look at the wing options available. There's guys like obviously Elias Lindholm who can play a bit of center and wing. Same thing with a guy like Adam Henrique who can play a bit of wing and center. Then you have a guy though like obviously Vladimir Tarasenko. Bringing him back might not be a bad option. Obviously guys like Anthony Duclair, maybe a Jordan Eberle could be available. I don't see a Jake Gensel happening. On Mike Hoffman. There is a few winger options out there that could be potential nice pickups for the Rangers. And adding in a winger who can score some goals, kind of help out the 5-on-5 scoring, I do think would be a very smart move by Chris Drury to make at the deadline. But obviously, you can't fix all your issues at a deadline. So obviously that kind of is a bit of an issue. We'll see what kind of moves he ends up making. But taking a look here at the defenseman this team could add, because we know this team needs some defensive help. I mean, guy like Andre Miller, the first goal against Ottawa, he gave to them right to the Sens guy who picks it off. They go down and score. So obviously, there's been a lot of defensive zone issues by this team. Andre Miller has been a part of that. Definitely not singling the guy out. He's definitely not the only guy that's made those issues, but there has been quite a few, and this team could definitely benefit from adding in a very solid, defensively reliable D-man. He's just going to be a really good defensive defenseman. Obviously, he can be a two-way guy as well, but we desperately need a good, defensively reliable, veteran kind of guy, preferably, who can hit, he can fight a bit as well. That would be kind of ideal, but we just need a very good, defensively reliable D-man who's going to consistently, day in and day out, game in and game out, make the good plays, make the smart plays, not turn the puck over right to the other team and just give them a free goal. Like, we can't keep doing this. The team does it a lot, and that is a big issue with this team right now, and kind of why they are on such a kind of just poor play streak right now is the defensive zone play. And I think adding in a very solid veteran defensive D-man could be a very good move and kind of help fix some of those defensive issues. Now, it's not going to fix everything, but it definitely could help quite a bit. So some of the guys are, Noah Hanifin, Chris Tanev. Those are kind of the top two options there, I think, that are available. Guys like some lower tier guys like Sean Walker, Ilya Lyubushkin, Mario Ferraro, Nick Seeler. So some solid kind of more depth guys there as well, who definitely could be some nice additions. I think like Mario Ferraro, nice young guy still, could be a very nice move. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for daily New York Rangers content. And also don't forget to comment down below your guys' thoughts on some of these players. So do you want to see the Rangers trade for? Which position do you want to see this team add? Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.